Have you ever wondered why Brazil, the most decorated football nation in the world, can sometimes look powerless against teams that many consider smaller? Just a few days ago, Brazil, under their new manager Carlo Ancelotti, suffered a shocking defeat against Bolivia. And since then, one burning question has been echoing among fans everywhere. Why did Ancelotti make so many changes? Why did he field players who clearly looked unprepared to influence the result? And if experimentation was his plan, why risk losing a game so close to the World Cup? These are not small concerns. When a powerhouse like Brazil loses to a team far below their level on paper, it does more than just drop 3 points. It shakes confidence. It affects the players, the fans, and even the nation's belief in the team. So today, let's break down what really happened, why Ancelotti made these decisions, and whether Brazil fans should be worried or actually feel reassured. First, let's start with a simple truth. As a fan, it is completely natural to criticize your team when they underperform. Loving a team doesn't mean blindly accepting everything. It means holding them accountable. If a player doesn't deliver, even if he's one of your favorites, you have every right to question him. And if a manager makes choices that seem risky, criticism is part of the game. Now, why exactly did Carlo Ancelotti rotate so heavily? The timing is key. He took over Brazil at a moment when the team was in disarray. You probably remember frequent coaching changes, leadership chaos within the federation, and a lack of clear direction. Ancelotti didn't walk into a stable environment. He walked into a storm. With the World Cup qualifiers already secured, he finally had a window to experiment. His goal wasn't just to win meaningless friendlies. His aim was bigger, to rebuild the squad's chemistry, test tactical ideas, and identify which players could adapt to his footballing philosophy. In other words, this wasn't a reckless gamble. It was part of a long-term plan. But then you might ask, why did this experiment collapse so badly against Bolivia? The answer lies beyond tactics. It lies in conditions. Bolivia's home stadium in La Paz is infamous for its altitude. Playing thousands of feet above sea level means less oxygen, heavy legs, and slower reactions. Even the world's best teams struggle there. It's not just about skill, it's about survival. Think of it like this. In cricket, teams that come to Bangladesh often collapse in Mirpur, no matter how strong they are, because the conditions are so unique. La Paz is Bolivia's Mirpur. It's their fortress. And historically, even giants have stumbled there. So yes, Brazil struggled. But should we be shocked? Not really. What was unexpected was the scale of Ancelotti's rotations combined with these brutal conditions. That's what made the defeat look worse than it actually was. The case of Richarlison. Another question fans keep asking. What's wrong with Richarlison? Why has he disappeared from games where he should be shining? The truth is no single player looked great in that Bolivia match, except maybe goalkeeper Alisson who saved Brazil from an even heavier defeat. Richarlison, like others, was suffocated by the altitude and poor supply. It's easy to blame him individually, but when the entire team fails, it's more about collective struggle than one player's mistake. Now, let's address the big question. Should Brazil fans be worried heading into the 2026 World Cup? The short answer is no. Here's why. Ancelotti is not panicking. He knows exactly what he's doing. These games were experimental. When the real squad list for the World Cup is announced, you'll see Brazil's core stars, players who can change a match, fight for victory, and deliver under pressure. And there's still plenty of time. Brazil will play at least 8 more matches before the World Cup, including fixtures against big nations like South Korea and potentially other European heavyweights. That gives Ancelotti time to refine tactics, solidify chemistry, and identify the best 23 men to wear the yellow shirt. Let's not forget, despite this defeat, Brazil remains among the world's strongest squads on paper. They're still ranked high in the South American qualifiers, and they have avoided injuries in these tough games, which is actually a huge positive. While Bolivia lost 3 players to injury in this brutal clash, Brazil walked away healthy. That matters a lot with the World Cup less than 2 years away. Yes, it's frustrating to lose. Yes, fans expected better. But in football, context is everything. Losing away in La Paz doesn't define Brazil's strength. What defines them will be how they perform on neutral ground, in international tournaments, and under Ancelotti's full-strength lineup. So what does the road to 2026 look like? Expect Ancelotti to bring back heavyweights like Neymar, Thiago Silva, Casemiro, and others who can provide leadership and experience. Expect young talents to blend in, learning the system while being shielded by veterans. And expect Brazil to look very different from the team you just saw against Bolivia. Ancelotti himself has said he hasn't lost faith in this squad. He believes the players are committed, working hard, and hungry for success. And as fans, that's what we must also believe. Criticism is fine. Questions are fine. But giving up hope? That's not what Brazilian football is about. So, the next time you feel frustrated about a single result, remember this. Football is not just about one match. It's about preparation, evolution, and timing. Ancelotti rotated heavily now because he wants to avoid mistakes when it matters most, on the grand stage of the World Cup. And when Brazil arrives at that stage, with the full power of its stars, with tactics sharpened, and with lessons learned from nights like La Paz, you can be sure they will not be the same Brazil you saw against Bolivia. For now, stay patient. Stay critical, yes, but also stay hopeful. The Selecao is still on track, and their best football is yet to come. And with that, we wrap up today's breakdown. If you have more questions about Brazil's journey to the World Cup, drop them in the comments. I'll try to cover them in future videos. Until then, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe, and keep believing in the beautiful game.